Hello everyone to our first episode after our first pay-per-view. And coming in first, both of these men, I believe, lost last night. Last pay-per-view.
Making his way to the ring from Newark, New Jersey, weighing in at 275 pounds, the Rebel, Brandon Curtis.
Both of these men, Brandon Cuevas and Jay Williams, of course, lost their first blood matches at the pay-per-view and are now going to be facing each other in a knockout-only match to see if they can get some momentum as they look forward, trying to get some gold, whether it's the Grand Prix or the new champion, Anderson Klein, the undisputed men's champion. Cuevas had a pretty good performance at the pay-per-view. He just fell a bit short near the end, and he'll definitely be trying to look for a big win here over Jay Williams. Jay Williams, of course, a very strong competitor, unfortunately got busted open in that matchup with Bennett Bracker. Now making his way to the ring, he of course first night out beat Ray Dunleavy, and at that pay-per-view again just fell short in that matchup against Bennett. Bennett, used his power and used his size and tossed around Jay for most of the matchup.
Virginia, weighing in at 273 pounds, the Punisher, Jay Williams.
Jay, of course, is an excellent striker, but he just couldn't handle the power of Bennett, and Bennett managed to crack him open, and that's how he lost that matchup. But now he's in a bit of it should be a situation where he is the definite favorite in a KO match. Of course, ex-MMA fighter, now looking to capture some gold here at BSW. A knockout-only match could be in his favor, but of course, Brandon's size does play a factor. Of course, I believe he stands at 6'9", definitely towering over Jay Williams. But Jay Williams could pull out a big win here and get one step closer to challenging for one of those titles. Of course, you can tell we have a new stage. We got a bit of a more lively crowd here, and these two are definitely going to be starting off the night properly, hopefully with a hard-hitting matchup, and a matchup that both of these men get to show how skilled they are in this ring. Brandon Cuevas, Jay Williams, the ring, and immediately Jay Williams goes for a grapple but gets caught with a boot, and a discus knee strike from Cuevas lays out Jay, and a springboard cutter, excellently done from the big man, keeping Jay off of his feet, not allowing him to do any combos. But Jay, I guess, is trying to show off his power, picking him up and doing a snake eyes into the corner. But an up kick from Brandon, get himself back on his feet, heads to the outside, but Jay Williams quick to his feet, makes Brandon second think. And now a big shoulder tackle into the corner and a overhead belly to belly from Jay. Beautifully done. Jay once again sending his opponent into that corner, and once again with a shoulder tackle and that overhead belly to belly. Goes for a stomp, but Brandon's able to roll away in a big clothesline to lay out Jay, get himself back in this matchup. But Jay's not going to be quick to be off of his feet. A big combo comes in and dropping him back of the head first onto the knee. Jay now heading to the top rope. I didn't expect to see someone of his style to be heading up top, but if he thinks that's what's best, then I can't doubt him with a big missile drop kick laying out Cuevas. And now he's mounting on top of him with some heavy strikes, throwing those elbows. Jay's sort of been in control at this point in the matchup. With a big double axe handle to keep him down. Cuevas, though, can always come with a comeback. Squeezing on the spine right here. Got Jay in a bad spot, but Jay is able to fight out of it with a palm clap. And a big meat hook clothesline to lay out the big man. And now, once again, showing off that power with a deadlift powerbomb. Brandon, though, not going to be on his stomach for too long. Trying to get his way up, but Jay's going to bring him up and bring him right back down. Throwing some heavy strikes to get his opponent off of his feet. Brandon, though, reverses with a big flying forearm. Drops him with an atomic drop. And now looking for a big scoop slam. And you can see the marks on Brandon's body is already shown. You look at his chest and his stomach and you can see the redness. Now Jay with a big overhead slam. And now with a spine buster to put himself back into control. He's not going to give Brandon time to breathe on the floor though. Sending him right back into that corner and sprinting in with a big Superman punch. Brandon goes for a clothesline, ducks though, super spear from Jay, but he's not done, picks him right back up. Goes for a punch, but gets caught with a forearm. Brandon scrapes the eyes and a low blow, but there's no rules in this KO match. Ref's gonna turn a blind eye to that move, and that's gonna get Brandon back in this matchup. Brandon now sending his opponent into the corner. Goes for a punch of his own, but gets dodged. Jay now underhook, suplex, nearly tossing him halfway across the ring. Both men now head to the outside. And an elbow drop as he evades Brandon. Brandon missed and Jay countered with an elbow drop and then tossing him knees first into that apron. Definitely did not land properly with that bullplex. But now a fisherman suplex, and that's it. Knocks him out flat onto that concrete painted floor. That fisherman suplex on the outside did the damage. And your winner here tonight, getting a big win, the Punisher, Jay Williams. He sort of had control over that entire matchup. I think it just goes to show that, what happened that night at the pay-per-view, some would say is a fluke, and I think we might have to run it back of Bennett versus Jay Williams. But we're going to move on to our next matchup, a submission-only match coming up next. Coming out first, both of these men got a win at the pay-per-view as opposed to our last match. The man who just beat Jay Williams coming in first.
Making his way to the ring from Austin, Texas, weighing in at 252 pounds, the Technician.
Bennett, of course, got a big win with a knee strike to the head over Jay Williams in that first blood match, but now he's got to be put into a submission match against his opponent, Thomas Insano. Thomas, of course, had a very rough start here in BSW, but is now finally getting some momentum, finally getting his footing in this business, and he has a very promising future here, especially if he can get a win over Bennett, because, of course, in a submission match, Bennett is going to have the advantage with the bigger size, able to choke his opponent with much more force than Thomas Insano. Thomas, though, doesn't seem too, worried about the situation.
At 228 pounds, Thomas Iron.
Thomas looks inherently very focused in this matchup. And our new lighting system here definitely gives everyone a bit of a fresh look here. Thomas looking very focused. And like he really wants this win here. And that's the motivation he needs to get himself some momentum and hopefully go after either that Grand Prix or that Undisputed Men's Championship. Of course, at the pay-per-view, Johnny Monroe was beaten by Lance Sutton to become the new Grand Prix champion. We had 3 new champions at the pay-per-view, so if you have not seen that, you should go and watch it. But let's focus on the matchup right here. Is a big scooping power bomb into a knee strike from Thomas. And once again, you're going to use that knee with that wrist clutch. Goes for a big roundhouse, but gets ducked. And now a springboard forearm from Bennett lays out Thomas. And another one doesn't quite land as properly, but Thomas still felt the effects of it. Now from behind, a ripcord forearm. That's 3 forearms back to back to back. And now a wrist clutch knee strike of his own from Bennett. Showing whatever you do, I can do with a big forearm. Thomas smart to roll to the outside. Bennett looks to follow him. He had the advantage, but a back elbow from Bennett gets himself briefly in control before these two just go back and forth with these strikes. Now these mounted palm strikes from Bennett gets Thomas on his back. Now throwing a flurry of strikes. That forearm once again rocks Thomas hard as he falls to that floor. And another forearm. At this point, there has to be a bit of targeting here with that face now looking to be cut open. Bennett definitely has a goal heading into this matchup, and it seems to be target the face, target the head. And Thomas, I think, is starting to get wise to that, trying to find a way out of that situation. But Bennett's just been in firm control at this point, throwing him all around this ring. Thomas responds with a kick to the gut and tossing Bennett into those steel barricades. Once again, tossing him all around, trying to use the environment as a weapon. Running in, and now mounting him with some strikes of his own with a big strike to that forehead. Thomas sends his opponent back in this ring, quick to follow through. Gets him back up on his feet. And a rolling forearm. No, caught by Bennett Bracker, but caught by Thomas. Caught by Bennett. These two going back and forth. Thomas evades with a big springboard enziguri. Now stomping on that forearm. With some kicks to the gut and a diving forearm strike. Gets himself back in control. Keeps himself on the advantage. But a kick to the gut from Bennett, flying forearm once again. Crowd is very excited for how this match is playing out so far. Of course, one of these men has to tap or pass out for the other man to win in this matchup. So far, though, no submissions have been attempted. Both these men are realizing they need to do some damage before they go for the win. Bennett tosses Thomas to the outside, but brings him right back in. Lifts him up by his neck. Takes him back down with those mounted palm strikes right to the forehead. Thomas tries to cover up, but it's not going to be with success as those palm strikes head right to the top. Now being sent against the ropes. Pop-up punch from Bennett, laying out Thomas. Thomas gets stomped on the face, and now off the rope, no, dodge by Thomas, gets caught with a kick to the gut. Bennett trying to stay in firm control, but Thomas is going to fight, and he's going to fight hard to stay in this matchup with a big kick punch to the gut. And now a ripcord clothesline folds him inside out. Bennett did not expect such ferocity with that clothesline, and Thomas is bringing himself back in this matchup. Some stomps to the gut. Now going off the rope, looking for the big kick to the face, and he gets it. Thomas throwing those strikes, throwing those palms, and now some big kicks. The crowd's exploding here. Those boot scrapes off the ropes into that big boot in the corner, and the crowd is loving this. Thomas finally getting some moves in, and he's getting some brutal offense. Taking control of that wrist, slowing it down here. But Bennett using that power, gonna throw some strikes to get out of that control. And now a knee strike of his own with some forearms. And now a Saito suplex. Well done by Bennett to get himself back in control, get himself back on that advantage like he had earlier in this matchup. Got control of that head, but no, Thomas able to fight out of it. Goes for a punch, but no, he's setting up for that pile driver. Gets it right on the top of his head, but now he's stalking him once again, looking for a second one. And he plants him heavy. And he's not done there, he's picking him right back up. The crowd saying one more time, but he's gonna go for a springboard enziguri. And now heading to the top. Or sorry, middle rope with a knee drop. Now just tossing him away. Now stalking his opponent. Goes for a kick to the gut but gets caught. Now running in with a knee strike. With some stomps to the gut coming in. Now a big clothesline, and another one from Bennett. Catches Thomas, sweeps the leg, getting fired up here. Now got those wrists and a big knee strike. Thomas rolls to the outside. Bennett heads to the top. Decides against it though, must be realizing it's too far of a jump. Instead, grabs at the wrists. On the outside now, bouncing his head off that concrete floor. Not going to do good for the long run in this matchup with Thomas. Bennett has had a definite focus with the skull of Thomas with those big strikes and bunches, all targeted directly at the forehead. Now tossing Thomas back in this matchup. Someone has to go for a submission at this point. Bennett seems very interested though, and looking for a big reverse fireman's carry knee strike. He's got to go for something though. He's going to drag his opponent into the center. Possibly going for the first submission of this matchup. He's setting him up for something. No. Corkscrew dragon screw from Thomas to get himself back on his feet. Sends his opponent off the ropes. Goes low and a big gut strike once again. But Bennett responds with a kick to the gut, and Thomas responds with one of his own. Now getting fired up here. Two clotheslines. Catches the leg. Sweeps him through. And he's getting fired up here, and so is the crowd. Thomas setting up for that big forearm. Now some kicks to the gut and a diving forearm once again. Now that looks to be cutting open Bennett's face. Both of these men now bleeding. But Thomas doesn't seem too interested in going for any sort of submission. Instead choosing to go for damage, and that might have been a little bit low. The ripcord forearm. Thomas is definitely trying to make a statement here as a pop-up European uppercut comes through. Now dragging his opponent into the center here. Goes for a stomp, but gets dodged out of the way, and a big spear from Bennett. Stomp to the forearm, setting him up for a submission. No. Thomas able to slither out of it. Drop kick to the back. Now a stomp to the spine. And a kick to the leg, targeting that knee brace. Bennett trying to recover in the corner, but some kicks and bunches from Thomas, going to keep him back off his feet. Now applying some pressure, using his weight as a pendulum. Goes for a knee strike, no, rolls through. Bennett with a big knee strike, doesn't quite drop Thomas though. This might though, with a wrist clutch, heel kick. Now goes for a ground and pound, no, reverse. counters with some forearms of his own is Thomas. Thomas now stalking his opponent. Setting up for that pile driver once again. That's the third one tonight. And once again, he's not done there. Stalking him. Going for that pile driver. And he plants him hard. And he's not done yet. He's going to go for a 6th pile driver. No, instead goes for the big power bomb. But Thomas gets to Royce and then reverses back. Bennett though makes some distance with a big lariat. And it seems like neither of these men are really looking to end this matchup. Wrist clutch heel kick once again. Bennett possibly looking to get a big move into that submission. We saw this before. Reverse fireman's carry knee strike. Turning him over. Trapping him up. Using his own arm to choke him. And we have our first submission here, wrenching on the neck. But no, Thomas able to instantly fight out of it. Possibly out of desperation. Uses those forearms and now throwing some strikes. No, caught by Bennett. Lays him back on his back. Bennett being sent off, sending Thomas off the ropes, but the two collide. A rolling forearm, no, caught by Thomas before he can connect. And again, a very low shot. Bennett able to reverse, but gets countered once again. And another short arm lariat laying out Bennett. Landed on his ear possibly, holding the side of his head. And now both men are heading to the outside. You can only submit the man on the inside. So this does not do much for either man, but besides inflict pain and punishment. And a dropping knee strike on the outside. Thomas now sending his opponent back into the ring, trying to end this match. No, instead choosing to pick up his opponent. Goes for a roundhouse, gets tripped. Now a drop kick to the back. Bennett now goes for a roundhouse of his own to get stuck. And a wrist clutch heel kick from Thomas this time. These two seem to have very similar movesets. Now looking for a suplex. Picking the big man up, but no, he floats back with a chop block. Goes for a drop kick, but gets rolled out of the way by Thomas. Thomas now setting up for that big power bomb once again. And he gets it. Perfect connection. But he's not done just yet. Goes for some strikes. Drop kick to the knee. Possibly targeting that for future submissions. So far, we've only seen one hold put in, and it didn't last for long. Thomas having more of a focus on dealing damage as he looks for another powerbomb, but this time reverse by Bennett. Thomas gonna roll to the ropes, use that to get himself up on his feet. But Bennett's not gonna give him time to breathe. Goes for a punch, but gets blocked by the ref. But a knee strike drops him. Now once again, mounting him with them strikes. I think these two might have forgotten the goal of this matchup. Instead, going for more of a street fight at this point. Bennett throwing those strikes in bunches, but Thomas is going to respond with a counter of his own. Throwing some strikes on the floor now. And a big knee strike. Bennett forced to retreat to the outside. Now taking control of Thomas, picking him up on his shoulders. He's got him set up in a very weird spot here, and he's got him into that reverse fireman's carry knee strike. Very interesting way to get set up into that move. Very well done by Bennett. Bennett needs to get him back in that ring so he can submit him. Bennett just seems gassed out at this point. He's used his entire tank to try and put Thomas down. And I think this might be it. He's, with all that pain to the head, all that damage to the face, he's going to have to tap, and he does. Your winner here tonight, getting a big submission win with a hard-fought matchup. Bennett Racker now on a 2-winning streak.
The Technician.
That blood pouring down his face is definitely going to be a big reminder of this matchup. But now we move on to our third matchup here. We have Johnny Monroe versus Ray Dunleavy in an Extreme Rules matchup. Now, on to our third matchup here. Coming in first after a loss to Lance Sutton, trying to get some momentum back on his side. Johnny Monroe
is an Extreme Rules match. Making his way to the ring from Richmond, Virginia, weighing in at 215 pounds, Johnny Raiden.
Of course, Johnny and Lance had a very hard-fought 25-minute Iron Man match over the Grand Prix title, and unfortunately, Johnny just came up short by, I believe, 3 points. But he's also facing another man who came up just a little bit too short in Ray Dunleavy.
And his opponent from New Jersey, weighing in at 230 pounds, Ray Dunleavy.
Ray, of course, has decided to don a different attire here, looking for that more of a black, sultry style. It evokes a lot of mystery and a lot of intrigue, but when that bell rings, he's a different man, and he definitely can fight harder than most people in this business here at this moment. But it seems like he just needs a bit of motivation. I'm only now noticing he doesn't wear shoes, which could play a factor in his matchups. But that's besides the point. Ray Dunleavy, of course, fell short in the main event and lost to Anderson Klein for that men's undisputed champion. And now Anderson's looking to get his first opponent, and he's going to be searching wide, and he's going to be searching for who's next. But these two men are looking to fight to prove that they deserve a chance at that Grand Prix title. Johnny Monroe, Ray Dunleavy. The bell rings and these two are on the way. Ray instantly flies in with a knee strike that gets blocked, with Johnny throwing some chops to get him off his feet. Johnny heads to the apron, but comes back in and gets caught. Gets tied up with a big SOS variation. Ray Dunleavy has Johnny trapped on those ropes with some big strikes to the chest. But a beautiful combo from Johnny. Gets himself back on the offensive. On the outside here, Johnny, not his most favorite place. He's gonna look under the ring for a weapon though. This is Extreme Rules, and he pulls out a table. It's not gonna be his main weapon of choice, I believe. Ray especially gonna make him pay for that with a big combo. Drops him onto that table. Ray though gets ducked under a big Snapdragon suplex. Landing nasty on that table. Don't know what's worse, the concrete or that table with that reinforced steel underneath. Gets thrown into one of those turnbuckles on the outside. But Ray's going to counter with an elbow. But can't quite reach Johnny as he does a release suplex. Well done by Monroe. He's going to be sent back inside the ring here. Ray, though, not quick to follow. Going to pull out a weapon of his own design, and this time a ladder. Crowd saying we want tables, but I don't think they're going to get much of them. Tables are a good instrument of violence, but not a good weapon to be swinging around. Arm trap back suplex from Ray Dunleavy. These two have been very even so far. Ray's going to throw his opponent back in the ring. He's going to follow through with a big right hook, going for the cover. Lays out Johnny flat, and that's it. Hit him with a really heavy knockout punch, it seemed like. Laid him out flat, and your winner, Ray, hit him with an insane amount of force, and yeah, you can see that right arm hit him with a very, very heavy strike here. Did not quite expect that. Our next matchup, though, is going to be the two champions facing off in a non-title contendership. Lance Sutton versus Anderson Klein. And stay tuned for the main event, which is going to be a tag team match with the new women's champion against her current contender, Azrael Gomez. We're now on to our fourth and second last match here tonight. Coming in first after a big win at the pay-per-view to become the second ever Grand Prix champion.
The following champion versus champion contest is scheduled for one fall. Making his way to the ring from Chicago, Illinois, weighing in at 269 pounds, the Grand Prix champion, the Gladiator, Lance Sutton.
Lance had a very hard-fought battle with Johnny Monroe in the opening of the pay-per-view to become the Grand Prix champion. And now he's looking to stay as champion. Of course, this is not for any titles. This is more for bragging rights as we lead on to our next pay-per-view. Lance with that title in hand. Definitely a certain energy to Lance now that he is champion. Going to be looking to keep that belt for a long time. Of course, this does not count as a title match, as it will not be etched into that metal belt. But Lance is certainly to get a few notches on that belt as he awaits his opponent, the new men's undisputed champion, Anderson Klein, making his way to the ring now. Of course, we saw him clean up with a bit of a different look at the pay-per-view. And here he is with the title for the first time.
And his opponent from New York, weighing in at 219 pounds, the men's undisputed Anderson Klein.
Anderson, sporting that white and gold attire, is certainly fitting for a champion. This is sure to be a hard-fought contest between both sides. Of course, Anderson won that title in a fatal four-way elimination match against Austin Storm and Ray Dunleavy. So both of these men have gone through hell to get this title. And Anderson certainly looks good with it. Both of these men seem very, very interested in these bragging rights in making sure that they are considered the top champion. Because you could definitely make a claim that if Lance beats Anderson here, then maybe the Grand Prix title is more important. As the bell rings, a discus clothesline, no. Caught with an elbow strike from Anderson, throws him headfirst onto the back of the mat. Lance on a bad spot with these big strikes on the ground from Anderson, getting the early lead here in this matchup. Anderson, snapmare off the rope to the big boot. No, dodge out of the way by Lance. Lance runs in with a big boot, but gets blocked by Anderson. Lance Logan throws his opponent to the apron, and a stunner sends him to the outside. Lance says this match is already done, but Anderson's going to get himself back in this ring. A back fist from Lance, and now a scoop into a neck breaker. Getting Anderson back up on his feet, throwing those strikes, a knee drop, rocking Anderson hard, and now Lance trapping his opponent's arms and clubbing him in the back of the skull here. Definitely not a nice move to do to your opponent, but he's looking to do it once again, but gets pushed off. Gets caught with a big discus big boot, and that caught Lance by surprise, hitting him hard on the jaw. Back up Wake though, he pushes him off, and now these both men are back on their feet. Lance sends Anderson off the ropes, goes low, and now goes for a neck chop, but doesn't quite get it as a snapmare comes through from Anderson, and now connecting with that big boot. And now, I know he has that face paint of that blood on his face, but I believe there's some real blood pouring down the side of his face with that big discus clothesline, catching Anderson rough on his neck. Biting the fingers is Lance. Lance is certainly not playing nice as he sets up for that infamous sleeper on the floor this time. He's got him in a bad spot here, choking him out. But Anderson just able to fight out of it with an elbow strike to the back onto the face. A flying clothesline puts the big man off his feet. Anderson now throws Lance into that top left corner. Goes for something, but gets caught with a big forearm. And some headbutts now onto the top of the head from Lance. Interesting point of contact, but if it does the damage, it's, can't fault him. Lance though, possibly looking for that sudden death from the top rope, but a kick to the face gets Anderson out of danger, and a discus knee strike. Now throwing some big clubbing strikes on the floor. And he's not done there, gonna double it up. And now going for the cover here, this could be it. You already see that blood on the side of his face, but no, only a 1 count. Lance showing that champion's resolve that we all expect. And now a snap suplex from Anderson though. Lance though quick to his feet with a big discus clothesline. Goes for the cover here, this could be it. 1, a 2, and a 3. A really heavy discus clothesline. Well done by Lance. Anderson on the outside catching a breather there. I think that really just came out of nowhere for Anderson. Didn't quite expect that vicious clothesline to come through. And this certainly is going to be a nice result for Lance. But now we're going to move on to the main event of this night. A tag team tornado matchup. Basically, just to see if, the champion and the contender can work together at all. And now in our main event,
The following
coming in
contest
first,
is a tornado
she
tag
fell
team
short
match.
in the tag team, in the title match at the
From Long
pay-per-view.
Beach, California, Maria Marshall.
Maria, of course, faced Ariana for that title, but didn't quite get the result she wanted. Ariana walking out with it. Maria not quite having such success. But it seems like her enthusiasm has not been swayed. You know, you gotta have confidence in the face of loss, and she certainly does. I guarantee she's going to definitely be a very big proponent going forward in this women's division. And then we will definitely see her fighting for that title eventually. But the current contender is tag teaming with the champion. Azriel Gomez and Ariana are the tag team facing X Garcia and Maria Marshall here.
And her partner from Mexico City, Mexico, X Garcia.
This is a very unique tag team. I don't know if they decided this or it was put together by Mr. Shadow, but either way, both of these women have very different styles, but it could be a good clash, as not only is there going to be issues between the champion and the contender, but if these two can get a good momentum going, then these two could definitely have themselves lined up for a future opportunity in this division. And now, coming in third, the new women's undisputed champion,
And
Ariana
from Los
Onyx.
Angeles, California, the women's undisputed champion, Ariana.
Ariana got a big win over Maria Marshall for that champion to become the first ever women's undisputed champion here in BSW. And you can definitely tell that title fits her perfectly. And I guarantee she's definitely going to be looking to hold on to that as long as she's in this company. And the crowd is certainly behind her with that goal. They seem to love her holding that title. They certainly like the look of it. But now let's get out her opponent for next week. Azriel Gomez, of course, got that opportunity at the pay-per-view after winning a steel cage fatal four-way match.
And from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, the bombshell, Azriel Gomez.
Azriel seems like she's changing her look every single time she comes out here, once again sporting that pink and white attire. Of course, at the pay-per-view, sporting a black and white split dyed color. Azriel, though, has been fighting to get this chance at this title, and she's definitely going to be trying to get towards that. So if she can win here, it'll be very, very influential for her moving forward. Especially if these two can work along together, it definitely can prove to be very useful for both of these women to get a win here. Because the less damage done to both of them overall, the better. Of course, this could be a strategy for one of these women to purposely let their tag team partner get intentionally hurt before their matchup. But here we go, the Tornado Tag Team matchup. The ref rings the bell, and these four women are going to brawl until one of them are put down. The combos instantly coming in from Azriel. The champion and contender getting the early advantage here. A big running pop-up Hurricane Rana from Azriel. Sends Maria into the corner as a snap neck breaker from Ariana. And now these two collide a little bit with interest. And Maria's going to roll to the outside, leaving X on her own with these two women. Ariana taking a breather as she watches over her partner. And Maria rushing in, going right at Ariana, wrestling her to the ground. And now doing some push-ups, showing a bit of cockiness. Azrael tries to fly but gets dodged out of the way. X and Maria now taking control, getting their own offense in this matchup. And Imanari roll dragon screw from Maria Marshall on the inside, and now a snap suplex on the outside from X Garcia. All four women now on the outside as Maria heads to the outside but gets caught with a big dropping from Ariana. Ariana slamming her head onto the back of that floor. Azrael with a forearm strike, and now a big combos coming in onto X Garcia. X not in a good position here. Azrael, despite her very unorthodox offense, is a very talented striker with a background in kickboxing. It's definitely someone you not want to go blow for. Back on the inside though, Maria getting some offense in on Ariana with a big wrist trap suplex. Now all four women are now back in this ring. Got some combos coming from Maria, but a sunset sarsaparilla from Azrael, saving Ariana, going for the first cover of this night. Ariana's going to protect her while this cover comes through, or a rope break comes through, saving Maria and X. Ariana now getting tied up, but no, a hip toss, gets herself out of that position. And now she's looking to stalk her opponent as a standing shooting star on the outside gets dodged. Now setting up for that glamour DT. And she connects with it beautifully. Maria sent back on the inside. We have a cover. No, only a 2 count. As a chop block comes in from Maria onto Azrael, but a leg drop from Ariana. And obviously the champion and the contender have been working very well together. Ariana with those leg combos, throwing those legs in bunches. And now a swinging side slam. X and Azrael looking to brawl on the outside. But Ariana is going to help her opponent out with a big punch to the face. And now a bulldog leg drop from Azrael. And now clubbing strikes from Ariana, and X Garcia is in a very bad spot. Maria on the inside seems a bit bruised up and beaten, but now they're going to both turn their attention to her with a face buster. And now Azrael stalking, but Ariana looking to take the credit, and then Maria smart to roll to the outside. Azrael heading to the top. Ariana smart to realize X is back on her feet, runs over, throws some strikes. But these two have been working very well together despite their impending matchup. These two have basically been watching out for each other this entire matchup, but now Maria's taking them both out. But no, an execution right on the back of the head. Maria getting taken to this another level with Ariana. And Azrael and Ariana have been singling out one person of their tag team, which is a very smart idea. Not really allowing either people on the opposing team to get much damage in before the other comes in and breaks it up. And once again, those combos coming in from Azrael. Ariana not quite realizing Maria back on her feet, gets tossed into the barricade with a ripcord knee strike. Both of these women have been in firm control so far in this matchup. And once again, those combos from Azrael, big boot, knee Meteora. And these four women have just been brawling on the outside at this point. X taking a breather on the outside, and a knee package pile driver from Maria. Goes for a big hip drop, but rolls out of the way is Ariana. And a bulldog leg drop from Azrael as Maria setting up for looks to be a suplex. No, suplex into an armbar, wrenching on that wrist. And now transitioning into an arm trap, looking to pull on the wrist. And she does go on the inside. No. Looks to be going for a big hook with Azrael. But X is able to dodge out of the way. And now chopping that knee and yanking on it. And now stomp to the bicep on the outside. X sending Azrael off the ropes with the two collide. And once again, targeting that bicep. Ariana getting stalked on the outside as the cover comes in on the inside, but only a 1 count. And oh my God, Maria just stole Ariana's own move with the Glamour DT to the outside onto that concrete floor. Showing a big sign of disrespect here. Maria showing that, you know, that matchup at the pay-per-view, it meant nothing. These two are going to be looking to beat each other until one woman is the clear winner. But we have a cover coming out on the outside, but no, only a 2 count as the contender. Azrael Gomez manages to show why she deserves that title opportunity, kicking out at just barely before the 3 count. But this could be it, as she gets caught with another big slam, big, you know, that Uranage, but no, rope break, saving Azrael. Just before that 3 count, the ref very good to catch that. And Maria has just been disrespecting Ariana on the outside, doing push-ups onto her. Azrael goes for a back fist, but is ducked by X. X though getting sent to the corner as Ariana throws some big strikes to get herself back on the offensive. But no, a fireman's carry from Maria, trying to get her back on her feet. And now she's got her arm trapped. This could be it. If she doesn't get saved by her partner, this could be it. I don't know where Ariana is, but Azrael's being wrenched on that. You can see her elbow is just getting pushed inverted. And Ariana just seemed to be fine with standing there on the outside just watching. Possibly doesn't even care about the win. But now getting caught with that variation SOS, but X is right there to break up the pin. X now getting her hit with that big X Uranage. Goes for the cover. We have a 1, a 2, but no. Both women able to kick out. But X is getting a little bit frustrated, getting a little bit angry. And the crowd is certainly loving this tag team matchup. The first tag team matchup in BSW history. As now that you can see that elbow blade is being inverted, and Ariana's forced to tap. And your winners here tonight, Maria and X. That elbow blade looking to get popped out.
Here are your winners.
These two women getting a big win over the champion and contender. And sorry, we're receiving breaking news that Bennett Bracker has been diagnosed with a possible further injury over the skull with a current concussion at the moment. We will get back to you on that information later. But your winners here tonight, Maria Marshall, X Garcia. Thank you for watching. We will see you next week for the next episode of BSW. We thank you for watching and we hope you all enjoyed. Have a good night.